Okay, well, it is time. Good morning, my friends. Welcome to the special episode of Kevin at 7. I've got my second day 2 of our Ascension workshop, which is our, let me look at my cap straight, there we go, which is day number 2 of my event for coaching members. And so we are off to the races. And I was getting ready to walk out. I forgot my key. Where's my key? No, my key's right there. There we go. All right, so here it is. It's very personal. I think it will be something that will not relate to everybody, but it's going to relate to the right people. So here's the question. Is what you do most of your waking hours every day, i.e. from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 9 to 5 or 7 to 6 or 8 to 8 or whatever time you work? You spend most of the best part of your day every day doing something. And most of you, if you are watching this, you probably have it as a career. Okay, which is cool. It's noble, awesome, good for you. And good morning, everybody. So here's my question. Is yours what you do most of your waking hours every day? Is it a career or is it a calling? That's my question. Yes, this is a conversation of what you believe. This is a conversation of faith. This is a conversation about what you believe about money, but it's also a conversation about what you believe about God, what you believe about your life, about your purpose, about the universe, about whether you have a purpose in life beyond just doing something for yourself or your family. Do you have a purpose in your life beyond making money? And this has been this is something that I have been just diving deep into for over a year now for me. Because I feel this sense I have felt for most of my life, this sense that I have a calling. And it started probably when I was about 4 years old. And I was about 4 years old. My dad was a preacher in a little country church in Moran, Texas, and he was preaching and going to school to get a degree so that he could be a school teacher or something, which is what he did. I don't know if that was a plan, but that's what he did. And when I was standing in the back of that little country church in Moran, Texas, one night after church, I can remember Sister Moore. I don't remember her first name. I want to say it was Leela, but I'm not sure, but it was maybe Sister Leela Moore. That may have been her name. And she said to me, Kevin, when you grow up, you should be a preacher. You'd be so good at it and you'd help a lot of people. So I'm 4 years old in the back, and I'm thinking I'm 4, maybe 5. I had not started school yet. And this was back in the day when preschool was what your parents did with you, not where your parents shipped you off to let somebody else start indoctrinating you into the beliefs that they held. So I didn't go to a preschool outside of home. My preschool was my mom and dad. That was my preschool. And I remember hearing this. You should be a preacher. So it became kind of like, okay, I was kind of like raised to make people happy, and this will make people happy and presumably make God happy, so I'm probably going to be a preacher. Well, I became a preacher. I did that. Those of you that know my story know that I was a preacher for over a decade. And then I decided to get into real estate because I was tired of church politics. And I wanted to own my own life. I just like, you know what? I want to just answer to myself and to God. I'm tired of having to answer to everybody's, to a bunch of old church guys who are more interested in protecting tradition than they are in changing people's lives. So I was like, I'm going to do something on my own where I can make my own money and support myself. And that became real estate. Now I kind of saw it as a path to my own ministry. And then I got a little bit derailed. I had an affair and I walked out on my family and I burned my life to the ground. So this is what happened to me. But through all of that, there was always, and I never lost this sense that I had a calling, that there was this purpose for my life that was greater than myself. So my question is yours a career? What you do right now, is it a career or is it a calling? Hang on, I have to back up here a little bit. There we go. Is it a career or is it a calling? What you got? Is it a career or is it a calling? Now, your career can be a calling. So it's not one or the other necessarily, but is it one or is it both? Is it a career, which means the main purpose of it is just to make money? Or is it a calling, which means the purpose of it is bigger than just making money? That you're actually doing it as what is God's purpose for your life. And I believe, and I was silent on this. I was silent on this for a quarter of a century. Probably because of my own mistakes, and I didn't feel worthy to talk about this. I was like, I screwed it up. I had an affair. I walked out on my family. I destroyed family. I destroyed relationships. I hurt people. I hurt people for decades because of that. So I didn't feel worthy to talk about it. And then I was just through this journey, through this process, I'm like, I haven't met anybody yet that's doing something in their life as a calling that has never messed up, that is perfect. So that probably doesn't disqualify me. Now, disqualify me from being a preacher, maybe so. But I've like people got PLS now because when they find out I'm a Christian, my background, they're like, you ever think you'll go back into ministry? And I'm like, if you're talking about, am I going to go back to being a preacher? No, never. I'm never going to do it. And the reason is I could not stand the limitations they had put on me that would keep me from being able to actually tell people the truth. Okay, here's what a preacher cannot do today. Some of you are going to argue with this. If you go to church, you have a preacher, especially if you respect a preacher, and there's a lot of great guys out there, great men, great people that are great ministers, great preachers. They have, they're great guys. Here's the problem. They can't tell the truth. They can only tell part of the truth. What they can tell you is what you're supposed to do about how to be religious and be right with God. They teach you how to be religious. This is the priest. This is the calling of the priesthood. And I believed as a little kid, I had been maybe called to the priesthood. Now, I never got a calling directly from God. I just got a calling directly from Sister Moore. And so it's just kind of like that. It always worked. Everybody was happy with that. People all seemed to think I'd be good at it. And I've always felt it. And so I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. That's where I'm going to go. But it was not my path. Now, in retrospect, maybe at that time it was, but looking back, I'm like, I don't know, but it's not now and for the future for sure. Going back and becoming a priest, i.e. a preacher, pastor, someone who teaches people how to find God and how to be religious. No. Not my calling. I'm gonna get real personal here. I'm gonna tell you what I believe about me. This is for me. This is not about you. This is about me. I believe that I have been called to be a prophet. Don't get offended for those of you that have religious beliefs like, oh, you can't be a prophet. You're nothing special about you. And you weren't born in the right place or belong to the right church or whatever other bullshit that your story is. Okay. A lot of people are surprised to find out I used to be a preacher because they can't believe by the way I talk. They're like, you don't talk like a preacher. And that is true. I talk like a prophet. See, here's the difference between a priest and a prophet. If you go back and read the Bible, in the Old Testament, the difference between a priest and a prophet, priests taught people how to be religious. Okay? They taught people how to worship God. Prophets told you the truth. That was the difference. A priest told you how to be religious. A prophet told you the truth. And most of the time, the truth was not comfortable. Most of the time, the message of the prophet was offensive. It pissed people off. And they did not come with degrees and pedigrees and certifications and all that kind of crap. They came out of the wilderness, or they came out of the hog farm or the pig pen. They came somewhere. And when they came in, they had a message of conviction and a message of transformation and a message for people to change their lives that would bring them blessing instead of cursing. It would bring them great things instead of bad things. And that's what they did. And they didn't need anybody else's permission. It was just from God. That was it. And a lot of times it was the religious people that were their biggest enemies. And yet, it was who God used. And I believe it's possible for you to operate in business as a calling, not just as a career. Now, why would this be powerful? Let me ask this. I got 25 of you on there. Yep. 25 of you on here. Okay, so here's my question. Do you look at what you do? There's no judgment here. I'm not attached. I don't care, if you have a faith in a higher being or high power or not. I don't care. It's not important to me. I care, but it's not important to me. I'm just wanting to just get a conversation here going with some of you. Whoa, it went from 25 people to 20 people just that fast. Like, nope, I'm out of here. This is not a direction I want to go with this conversation. Okay, this is part of the game. I'm going where I'm feeling like I need to go with this conversation. So if there's only 3 people to get this with me, I'm like, okay, that's the way it goes. Because I've got now 6 people have dropped off. Okay, 6 people have dropped off when I started. Okay, here's what I want to ask you. Here's your question. Do you consider what you do for money? Do you consider it just a career, or do you consider it also a calling? That you have a purpose higher than just for yourself? So type in the comments, career or calling. Okay, or just type in call. If you know it's a calling or that's what you believe, type in the comments right now. Just type in calling. Just type in calling. If you believe you have been called versus just you have decided, hey, I'm going to do this for money. I just want to see who I'm talking to here. So come on, type it in the comments. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, this is kind of freaking you out. All right. Okay, Pinnell, I love you, but you're going to keep coming on my channel and start promoting yourself. I am going to remove you from my channel, bro. I love you, but this is not your platform. This is my platform. Okay, good. I like it. I guess even some coaching members here. Cool. Okay, now I figured the only ones who would answer are the ones that believed it was a calling, because people are going like, no, it's just a career. They feel like they're going to get judged, which I get it. So I'm not getting on you. I'm not blaming you. I'm not upset at you. I just like, I get it. If you're like, I don't feel comfortable with this conversation, and I didn't feel comfortable with this conversation for a long time. In fact, if I had been on this live stream as an observer, as somebody watching it like you guys, and somebody asked that 5 years ago, I don't know if I would put calling. I don't know if I would have said it. I had the sense of it, but I was resisting it so badly because I felt like I was not worthy of it. But here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to tell you. What if you decided to own that as your calling? And this is what I'm doing. I'm just telling you right now, I am owning what I do now as my calling. Okay? God told me to declare his name. Like, stop being a private, secret, undercover follower of mine. I'm like, okay, then I'm going to no longer do that. I'm going to come out. I'm going to come out of the closet and I'm going to tell the truth. This is what I believe. I believe I've been called. And here's why I feel so good about this. And this is not a judgment. Tons of my coaching members they have every faith, every belief, and some no belief. Some of them are agnostic. Some of them are full on atheists. I love them. No judgment. I love them. I work with them. I embrace them. I don't care. I'm not attached to that. I'm attached to helping people that have been brought into my life. And whether it's a calling or whether it's just an opportunity to help people, perfect. That's what I want. All right. But here's what I think is that a career brings you money. It can bring you fulfillment. It can bring you happiness. It can bring you things that you like and want. Good. But a calling can do all of that and brings deeper meaning and purpose to everything that you do. So I believe it empowers you more. If you just embrace it, own it, and go like, this is what I do. Now, a lot of you have already done this. You've already owned this. Now, others of you are checking out on this going like, this is not what I need. I need to make money. Here's the deal. When you own your calling, if you embrace this, and I just want you to consider the possibility. What if you have been called? What if you have been called to do what you're doing right now? And you haven't really seen that or accepted that or embraced that or owned that? What would happen if you owned it and said, okay, God, is this what you want me to be doing? I know it is. I believe it is. So now I'm going to do it not only as a career person, I'm also going to do it as a called person. And here's what you get. There are 2 words I think are very, very interesting words. One is the word enthusiasm. Enthusiasm. Does anybody know what the root meaning of the word enthusiasm is? Where it comes from Latin, and the Latin root word is entheos. Enthusiasm. Does anybody know what it means? If you know what it means, type in the comments what the root word of enthusiasm means. Now in English, and just right, when we think enthusiasm, we think excitement, right? We think somebody's got a lot of energy, they're excited and all that. But that's originally not what the word meant. Okay, it means something different. So if you know that, type it in the comments. What does the word enthusiasm, the root word of it, mean? Number 2, the second word is inspired. Inspired or inspiring or inspiration. Do you believe you would be better at what you do if you woke up every day inspired? And if you were inspired to do what you do, and if you were enthusiastic about doing what you would be doing, would you be better at it? So the word inspired into inspiration, we think of me and I'm inspired. I've got, I need some inspiration. I need somebody to get me excited, fired up. That's kind of what we think of when we think of inspiration. But the root meaning of the word inspired doesn't mean excited or fired up or like motivated. It means something different. If you know what it means, type in the comments. Let me see now. Am I getting comments coming in here? Does anybody, I've really been making it a career for my gain, but that is not helping anyone. Well, it can help somebody, but it could also help people more if you saw it as a calling. So I appreciate that, Christopher. Appreciate what you're saying. Totally. If you don't see it as a calling, don't try to make it a calling. I'm not trying to get somebody to not be honest with themselves. I want you to be thinking about this. So nobody knows what enthusiasm, the root of enthusiasm or the root of inspiration means. There you go. Enthusiasm comes from the Latin word entheos, which theos, God, inside. Enthusiasm means God inside of you. That what people believe that if you had God's blessing or God's presence inside of you, it was so powerful that it enthused you. To be enthused means to be injected with a dose of God's power. And from that word, we get the word enthusiastic, enthusiasm. Now, you and I both know when you go into a listing presentation, you go into a conversation, you're talking to anybody, and they are enthusiastic about something, they are more fun to listen to, and they are way more convincing, way more powerful when they are enthusiastic about what they're talking about. Whether you like it or don't like it, agree with it or disagree with it, their enthusiasm is powerful. And what if you just embrace it and go like, oh, wait a second, enthusiasm, this is God inside of me. Now, can you be enthusiastic without God? Sure. But I'm just going back to what the word actually means, where it came from. Just if I embrace the fact that if I have this work that I am doing as a calling, you're going to be more powerful doing it. And as you go into turbulent times like we are going into economically right now in the housing market and in the economy in general, as a business owner, as someone who serves people, if you have enthusiasm, if you have God's energy, God's power, God's fire inside of you, you're going to be better at it. You're going to be more effective at it. And people can tell. The second word is inspired. Inspiration. And this comes from the Latin word inspiros. Spiros, spirit, inside. So it's the spirit of God inside of you. That's inspiration. So we talk about the Bible is inspired, meaning God's spirit breathed it out. He spoke it. So it's God breathing the spirit into you. So the word inspiration and the word enthusiasm both come from basic root meanings that say it is God's power inside of you. Whoa. I'm just like, and I'd heard this before, but it's like, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, is this my calling? What if I just said, okay, God, what I'm going to do from here on out is I am going to follow this and do this, follow my path as a business owner. I'm going to give it to you and I'm going to follow you. So one of the things that happens is a lot of us have tried to separate money from our faith, or we tried to separate our work from the rest of our life. Because like I have to work for money, and money can be evil. And so because of the limiting beliefs we have about money, we really can't bring our faith into our work. And I'm going to tell you, what if you flipped that belief? What if you flipped that story and say, wait a second. The prophet said, if you are faithful to God and you serve God and you do what you do for the right reasons, God will bless you. Well, here's one of the things I have discovered about living on this planet, that when I have more money, I can enjoy more blessings, more of the good things on this planet, more of the good things in the universe. I can not only enjoy them, I can also share them when I have more money, when I have more abundance of stuff. Money is something that allows me to acquire blessings for myself, my family, and for other people. So what if I embraced it and did that? And I'm going to give you one last piece of this. I've gone longer than I wanted to, but I'm going to give you one last piece of this because I think this is so critical. If you treat your career as your calling, or you look at your career and say, is this really what I should be doing? Or is there something else that God is calling me to do that I'm afraid to do because I don't know how to make money at it? That may be. And I'm not saying you should quit your job and go do that. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is look at life as being like, what if I could bring it all together and I could serve God? I could do what God's purpose is for my life and make money at the same time while doing it. And I believe there's a way for that. If you or your family depends on you earning income to do that. So let me give you a simple equation. Here's how you create value in the marketplace, i.e. how you can make money. Number one is you serve other people, serving others. And number two is you solve problems. And I'm talking about you do these together. You serve other people, you solve problems. You serve other people, you solve problems. Serving others plus solving problems equals value. If I serve more people and I solve more problems for people, I have more value in life and in the universe and in the marketplace. So I can make more money when I can serve more people and solve more problems. So if you become better at serving more people and better at solving more problems for people, you have more value, and more value equals more money. Okay? If you go to a restaurant, what do? They serve people and they solve a problem. What's my problem? I'm hungry. I need to eat. How do they do that? They serve me. They and I don't mean necessarily they come to your table. Maybe I can go to Burger King, I can go to McDonald's, and they serve me and solve a problem through a drive-through window. Right? So they serve people, they solve a problem. The more people you can serve and the more problems you can solve, or the higher level problems you can solve, the more value you have, the more money you make. You want to make more money as a real estate agent? You serve more people, i.e. more clients, and you solve more problems for them. And the bigger the problem you can solve, the more value you have. So real estate agents, the beauty of what you do is you have the opportunity to solve a big problem. A big problem is to sell or help somebody acquire a high dollar asset, a house, a piece of property. So you're not only serving somebody, but you're not serving them a hamburger. You're serving them a service that will create for them massive amounts of value. So guess what? You're solving a bigger problem. It takes more expertise. That's why you make more money. That is why an elite heart surgeon has more value than just a regular family doctor, because he solves a bigger problem and gets paid more money because the problem he solves is more complex and it's a bigger problem. The better you get at solving more problems and the more people you can help solve those problems, the more value you have in the marketplace. And the beauty of it is, I believe that's what God put you on this planet to do. So he put me on the planet, is to serve people and to solve problems, to add value to other people's lives, because now I'm adding value to other people's lives. I'm impacting other people's lives. And in doing that, I have more value. I can make more money that allows me in turn from that now to to provide for myself, my family, and to give back to others and expand the circle, the vortex of how I can serve more people. So what are you thinking about this? Type in it if you like this, if this is resonating with you. Put a comment put a comment in the comments. Just let me know what you're thinking about this. If you're watching this after a replay, I want to hear what you're thinking about. If you like this, if you agree with this, if you feel this, give the video a thumbs up. Okay, if you're brand new here, subscribe to the channel. I know this is going to freak some people out. Some people are going like, no, I'm not going to go here. It's not a conversation. I get it. But I've got to be true to me and who I am and what I believe I need to be saying right now, what I need to be talking about. And as we go into economic tough times, the more power you bring to bear in what you are doing, the more power you're going to have, the more productivity you're going to get. And I believe that God put us here for a reason. So with that, may you have a blessed day. Go out there, play to win, and always expect yes. 3, 2, 1, off you go.